While you wait for someone to come pull you out of the hole, a friend, a mentor, a divine sign, a stroke of luck, you remain still, and standing still, you rot. The truth is, no one will come do what only you can do for yourself. No one will fight your battle. No one will carry your weight, not out of malice, but because everyone is already carrying their own cross. Yes, this may seem cruel, but it's actually the opposite. It's liberating. Because if no one is going to save you, then everything depends on you, and that means the power is also in your hands. The responsibility is yours, and while that may be daunting, it is a gift. You don't need to wait for anyone else. You can start now, from wherever you are. A failure, broken, tired, still capable. It is at this point that failure changes its role. It ceases to be an end and becomes a starting point. It transforms from ruin into fertile ground. Failure is the cruelest teacher, but also the most honest you will ever have. It does not praise you. It does not ease your pain. It does not lie. It accurately exposes where you need to improve. It shows where effort was lacking, where arrogance took over, where advice was ignored, where consistency was missing. It humiliates you, yes, but it also points out what needs to be done. It is a compass made of pain. And pain, no matter how unbearable it seems, is one of the greatest transformative forces that exist. You can use it to justify stagnation, or you can use it as fuel. You can wallow in self-pity, or rise with your eyes wider open than ever. You can curse the path or learn from every stumble. Failure gives you a map. It shows what didn't work, where the holes are, which shortcuts are misleading. Every mistake, no matter how shameful, is a valuable clue. Every no can be a push in the right direction, if you are willing to see. There is a raw, almost supernatural strength that only arises when you truly understand that the world owes you nothing. No one is obligated to believe in your dreams. No one is responsible for your motivation. People are fighting their own battles. Waiting for someone to save you is wasting precious time that you could be using to save yourself. This is not about coldness, it's about maturity. It's about breaking the illusion that success and overcoming will come from outside. They won't. They are born from within a silent pact you make with yourself. To keep going no matter what. Not because it gets easy, but because you decide you will do what's necessary. Getting up after failure is the bravest gesture anyone can have, because getting up requires facing the truth, redoing plans, rebuilding from the ashes. It requires humility to admit that you were wrong, but it also requires greatness to not let that mistake define you. Failing does not define you. Staying down does. Life is not made up of uninterrupted victories, but of falls and fresh starts. And in the end, what separates those who advance from those who remain is that silent, daily, tireless choice to rise, learn, and try again. You might not control everything that happens, but you can control what you do with it. With or without an audience. In the end, the only hero of this story is you. It is you who will have to make the hard choices. It is you who will have to get up earlier, even when you don't want to. Try again, even when you're scared. Fix what went wrong, even if it hurts. Train when no one is watching. Study even when it feels like nothing is working. Work hard, even without immediate recognition. It is you who need to keep going when everything seems against you. Because it is exactly in those moments, in the dark alleys of doubt, in the silences of loneliness, and in the unanswered nights, that true commitment is forged. That is where the most resilient version of you is born. That person does not back down in the face of adversity, who understands that every fall is part of the process, not the end of the road. The pain of failing only becomes unbearable when you refuse to transform it. If you simply lament, it consumes you. But if you decide to give purpose to the pain, it becomes fuel. it becomes fire, it becomes discipline. Frustration turns into strength, indignation converts into creative energy, anger transforms into focus, shame transmutes into drive. And that is the most powerful fuel that exists, raw emotion channeled into growth. It's when you look in the mirror and say, I will not accept stopping here, and begin, brick by brick, to build your next version of yourself. And don't be fooled. The people you admire, who have reached the place you want to get to, also failed, perhaps even more times than you. The difference is that they did not use failure as an excuse to stop. They used it as an argument to continue. They understood something essential. Winning isn't about avoiding failure. Winning is learning from it. It's allowing yourself to be shaped by it, to be transformed by it. Winning is being stubborn enough not to stop until it works. There are no mystical secrets, no magic formula, no glorious shortcuts. There are daily choices. There are small, invisible sacrifices. There are difficult and silent decisions. And there is the awareness that no one will come to rescue you. You can be helped, but the rebuilding will always be your responsibility. And here's a truth that hurts, but liberates. No one cares about your excuses. You may have the best reasons in the world. You may justify with logic, argue eloquently, lament sincerely. But the world does not reward intentions. It responds to actions. The universe does not move by your explanations. It transforms by your decisions. What changes your life is not the reasons why you fell, but the decision to get back up. One decision, simple, powerful, undeniable. The decision not to surrender. The decision to use failure as a springboard, not an anchor. The decision to stop waiting for a savior and become your own salvation. You don't need to win today. You don't need to be perfect tomorrow. But you must, today, here and now, decide that you will no longer be defined by your falls. You are more than your mistakes. You are what you choose to do with them. It's not about eliminating falls, but mastering them. Learning to fall better, getting up faster, turning stumbles into learning. Because in the end, what really matters is not how many times you fell, but how many times you decided to get up, shake off the dust, and move forward with even greater focus. That is the difference between those who try and those who achieve, between those who dream and those who build, between those who live complaining and those who transform what they have into masterpieces. You have that power. Even if today everything seems against you, even if the path seems too long, even if no one believes, it doesn't matter. You don't need the world to believe that they need to believe in you, because the true turnaround begins when, in the silence of your soul, you decide, I will keep going. And that decision, when firm, moves mountains. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's lonely. Yes, many times you will cry without anyone seeing, but it is in this process that you discover who you really are and what you are capable of doing. Failure, when faced head-on, reveals its true power. And it lies not in the absence of flaws, but in your ability to get back up every time the world tries to bury you. So the next time you fall, remember, no one is going to save you, and that is a blessing in disguise, because it means that the path is clear for you to take control of your story. It means that if you want, you can turn this moment into a turning point. You can use the pain as traction. You can build something new from the wreckage of what didn't work. There's nothing more powerful than someone who has failed, faced their own reflection at the bottom of the pit, and decided to rise with their own hands. Failure is not the end. It is raw material. It is fuel. Now go, burn, with courage, with brutal honesty, with everything you have. And that changes absolutely everything. Do not confuse this with loneliness. It's not about living in isolation, rejecting support, or refusing the outstretched hand of those who care for you. On the contrary, accepting help is wisdom, but depending on it, making it your only lifeline, is a fragility disguised as hope. There is a brutal difference between being supported and being sustained. The journey that transforms requires you to walk on your own, with or without applause. Failing hurts, and there's nothing poetic about it. It hurts in a way that crushes your chest, silences your inner voice, and makes you question even your most solid certainties. Failure tears apart expectations, stains dreams, and topples castles built through hard work. It doesn't arrive gracefully. It bursts through the door, points fingers at your open wounds, and with no mercy, whispers, "You are not good enough." And at that moment, when everything collapses, it's not just the project that falls apart. It's the pride that shatters. It's the self-esteem that bleeds. It's the idealized image of who you thought you were that starts to fade away. Failing is human, but there's no manual for dealing with the feeling of inadequacy that comes with it. The temptation is immense to run away, to hide, to blame others, to give up on everything. We search for distractions, excuses, or saviors. We hope someone will lend us a hand, that a magical opportunity will appear, that the universe will recognize our effort and finally reward us. But there's a brutal yet liberating truth that can change everything. No one is going to save you. That phrase hits like a punch to the stomach, harsh, cold, uncomfortable, but sometimes that's what we need, a reality shock that jolts us from inertia.